Good evening and welcome to the Queen Anne's County March 4th Board of Education meeting. I make a motion to resume open session. All in favor? Aye. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Review of closed session agenda items.
Pursuant to the general provisions, Article 3-305 and 3-104, the Board of Education of Queen Anne's County will met in closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals, to protect the privacy or reputation of individuals concerning a matter not related to public business, to consult with staff, consultants, or other individuals about pending or potential litigation, and to conduct collective bargaining negotiations or consider matters that relate to the negotiations.
Thank you. Make a motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve the March 4th, 2026 agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. I motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve the minutes from February 2026 closed session, February 4th, 2026, and open session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Ed to approve the minutes from February 11th, 2026 budget work session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And make a motion to approve the February 25th, 2026 budget work session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. Next, we have 2.06, which is our certificated Unit 2 contract ratification. Can I make a motion to approve the ratified certificated Unit 2 contract?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yep.
Where to stop this?
So we can. So President Capes, thank you. Members of the board, on your behalf, we have a agreed upon contract for 1 year effective July 1st of 2026 through June 30th of 2027 with our certificated Unit 2 group. So I do thank you. So I'm going to bring it up so you guys can, or you can sign it. You without it.
Go ahead, you first. We need blue or black. Doesn't matter.
You said you weren't going to use it.
I know, and I stole it already. Okay. You sign both of these or no?
No.
There you go.
The pen?
We're rolling tonight.
Congratulations.
Stop working? They just used
They
it.
stole it too
Alexis
much.
did.
Mine is black.
Here we go.
Try
again. Damn.
They did that on purpose.
All
I
right.
do want to thank Mrs. Smith for representing her team and having a very successful negotiation.
Shake hands.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, awards.
Awards.
Oh, I know I gotta get up.
Okay.
Our first award tonight is the Energizer Bunny Award, sponsored by Bayview Financial with Mr. Chip Brittingham and Mr. Wayne Humphreys. So award is given to a staff member or volunteer who keeps on going. Tonight's winner is nominated by Dr. Billy Bryce, principal of Sudlersville Middle School. She could join us. And I know you've got some members of your team. Are there others you want to bring up?
It really is a team effort.
Yeah.
I love them so much.
Well, we'll bring up the winner. So I do want to, this month's Energizer Bunny winner is Miss Erica Mayer. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So since being hired at SMS this year as the multilingual teacher, Ms. Mayer has truly hit the ground running. In a building with the second largest English learner population in the county, she strategically designs her schedule to ensure every student receives the support they need. As the only ML teacher in the building, she seamlessly balances co-teaching, 2 separate reading intervention groups, WIDA testing, and countless additional responsibilities, always with intention and efficiency. In just 6 months, she has already made a school-wide impact. She presented professional learning to staff on effective EL strategies, empowering teachers across content areas to better support multilingual learners. She also created and implemented an after-school ML literacy club, meeting every Wednesday to focus on goal setting, literacy development, and closing achievement gaps entirely on her own initiative. I'm going to skip because I'll give you this paper because there's a lot of nice things here, but I'll conclude with she is truly an unstoppable force, constantly moving, innovating, and advocating for students without ever slowing down. Her energy, dedication, and impact make her the perfect candidate for the Energizer Bunny Award. Dr. Bryce, you could stay with us. The next award is the Spirit Award. This award is given to an individual who embodies the spirit of Queen Anne's County Public Schools. Again, nominated by Dr. Billy Bryce, principal at Sudlersville Middle School. And this month's winner is Mrs. Dawn Coursey. Dr. Bryce says, Dawn Coursey is truly the backbone of SMS. While her official title is Administrative Secretary, her impact extends far beyond any job description. Dawn is a trusted problem solver, a source of institutional knowledge, and someone who seemingly knows everything there is to know about SMS. No matter the situation, staff, students, and families know they can count on her for guidance, answers, and support. This year, I can't believe we're giving this away.
We're not.
This year, SMS introduced a new school mascot, Thunder, and it's no coincidence that Dawn plays a big role in spreading school spirit. Wink, wink. Her enthusiasm, pride, and love for SMS shine through in everything she does. We love Mrs. Coursey.
Yes, we do.
Miss Bent to your left. Thank you, ma'am. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
And our last award tonight is the Shining Star Award. The Shining Star Award is presented to an individual in our school system who shines. Tonight's award winner is nominated by Miss Amy Tubman, principal of Graysonville Elementary School. Come up. And I know you have some members of your team. Mr. Jones, want to come up? Yep, assistant principal, Graysonville as well. Welcome, Mr. Jones. This month's Shining Star is Miss Shannon Berry. Congratulations. It is a pleasure to recognize our outstanding guidance counselor at Graysonville Elementary, Shannon Berry, as a recipient of the Shining Star Award, as she consistently goes above and beyond to meet the diverse and ever-changing needs of our students. She ensures that every child feels seen, heard, and supported. She builds positive, trusting relationships, not only with students, but also with their families, creating a strong partnership between school and home. Her drive, compassion, and exceptional attention to detail shine through in everything she does, and she is always willing to lend a helping hand. She approaches every challenge with dedication and heart, making a lasting difference in our school community. Her unwavering commitment and genuine care embody the true spirit of this award. Graysonville Elementary is stronger, our students are more secure and confident, and our families are more connected because of her tireless efforts. Keep shining, Mrs. Berry. Congratulations.
Miss Eichler and Miss Keeps, I gotta get you. Come on, come on. Okay, here we go. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
So we do have one more award tonight, a recognition to make. So I want to invite up Miss Ashley Luking. She could join us up front, representing Queen Anne's County Education Partnership. This is a great partnership. We have talked a few times at board meetings about the foundation and making donations to teachers to support our schools and students in our schools. And she had the idea to start recognizing some sponsors of awards, and this is our first night doing it, and we're very excited to have you here.
Thanks.
Here, you want to hold something? Or do you want me to?
First, I think that Mary and Pete Sloan, wherever you are hiding, if you could come on up here and join me, please. I have to have this so I can keep myself straight here. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for having me. I am Ashley Luking from the Education Partnership. I am very proud to be here tonight to recognize a platinum sponsor, the Jacob Sloan Foundation. Not only are they a platinum sponsor for this school year, but they have been a platinum sponsor for me from the start, from 2021, I believe. So many of the grants that I've given over the past 5 years would not be possible without Mary and Pete and all of the work that they are doing to honor their son, Jacob. Let me see what else I have on here. To honor their son, Jacob's memory, their nonprofit has made an incredible impact, not only to my fund, but to nearly every corner of our community when a need is identified. Like every time I turn around on social media, I see Jacob Sloan Foundation as a sponsor for Haven Ministries, for Tides of Grace, for Giving the Edge Foundation. They are everywhere. Any need that is identified, you'll find them there. They, as a platinum sponsor, have the opportunity to develop a mini grant. I've filled 4 months for the school year, and they have February to honor Jacob's birthday. They focused on the criteria of arts. So arts integration in our content areas, or a music or art class, or a more traditional route. Because Jacob was very successful in the arts and had a passion for performing. So we want to celebrate that and have his memory in all of our schools, really. Yes, sorry. So I know I am beyond grateful, but I can speak for the teachers that have received grants in the past. We are beyond grateful for the support that you've given me, which I can then support others. So with that being said, I think that was all I wanted to put there. I am thrilled to announce the recipients of the first annual Love Like Jake Arts Grant. From Churchill Elementary, we have 2 recipients. One, I believe, is at a conference, so she is not here, but we will still talk about her wonderful application. The first is Miss Heather Eflin, who is here, so please join us. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So Heather asked for a new speaker system for her students that are performing. I've written a few grants to get things for music students and always use the I don't know, the argument that if kids are brave enough to get up and perform, we should give them whatever they need to do that, because it's incredible to do that. So teachers that are motivating our kids to be future musicians and future artists, our kids should be using the real deal and they should be excited about it. So we were excited to read your application to get them a new sound system so they can sound as good as possible. So that will be delivered to your school whenever we can get that ordered and sent to you. So exciting. So yay for Churchill Elementary and your future performances.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. And then Ms. Hostler from Churchill, I do not think could be here. I don't. Okay. She's at a conference for her content area, actually. So yay for that. But she put in a really impressive project for social emotional learning, supporting mental health for our students in her art classes. So pre-K through 5, I think is at Churchill Ford. Right. So we'll have all of the materials they need to do those hands-on projects and supporting mental health through the arts, which is very exciting. Our final recipient is at Graysonville Elementary School. Miss Jamie Dean will be receiving the first set of risers for Graysonville Elementary School. Congratulations, of course. So yeah, again, if our kids are brave enough to sing in front of a whole group of parents, let's let them stand on some risers and like make them feel like the real deal, because they deserve it, right? And then finally, and then I am done, I promise. Mr. Michael Bell was obviously invited to this meeting to represent his teachers, and he was really disappointed that he could not go. He's at the same conference with Ms. Hostler. And he asked me to share the following. He said, these kind of opportunities don't just enhance our programs, they energize teachers, validate their work, and ultimately expand what's possible for our students. Please extend my sincere gratitude to the Jacob Sloan Foundation as well. Their ongoing commitment is making a real lasting difference. So thank you for Mr. Bell as well. And I have this for you, which you cannot read now because we will. And I know you don't want things, but you're getting them. Thank you so much. First, I guess. I'll be. That's right.
Escapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, I can. Thank you. Right? And then this is for you. That's for you. Thank you so much. Oh.
All right, next up we have board involvement. Does anybody have anything they would like to share?
I can start.
Oh,
Or you want to go from that? You want to start?
either way.
All right, I'll start. Let's see. Last month was actually kind of busy. The Sudlersville African American Heritage Festival went really good. We won't talk about my 2 dates that stood me up, but it was a lot of fun. I also attended, there's one more activity. Oh, I'm getting old. I wrote it down and I didn't bring it. But anyway, there's a lot of good stuff going on. I actually saw.
You go today to something?
Huh?
Did you go today to the Wax Museum? Is that you?
I wanted to. I couldn't because I had that other thing. But I did attend Annie. It was flipping awesome. I loved it. I can't wait to see Mama Mia. These kids are knocking it out of the park as usual. That's it.
All right. As Shannon said, it was definitely a busy month. Today I was actually in Annapolis helping the commissioners and our county with the Senate Bill 833, which will allow them to use impact funds and allocate some of that revenue to help us build new schools. Unfortunately, I was not able to give my oral testimony because everything got pushed right before I had to come here. But the board did submit a written testimony, and that is with the state senate, and they did receive that. I attended Rumble on the Jungle, the girls wrestling tournament. Oh, that was impressive. It's good to see how many girls are out wrestling these days. There's over 300 athletes there, and it was awesome to see. And congrats to all our girls out there. They did a tremendous job. Went to the basketball game between Kent Island and Queen Anne. That was exciting. Always a real treat. Attended the SSIC as well, the CAC meetings. A lot of good information is going to be passed. I don't know the channels that they get passed through.
We post the minutes
Okay.
online.
Some good information coming through that one, especially when we had some of the calendar involvement and started talking about some of the cell phone situations that were going on. Just starting the discussion and getting some feedback. And we had a couple budget meetings, so if you have some questions on the budgets, go ahead, and we have meeting minutes getting posted, and then you can review the videos as well.
Can I have a quick go back? I forgot I have to read to first grade at Kent Island Elementary
Yes,
School.
that's
what it was. That was a lot of fun too.
I was able to attend at Queen Anne's County High School the CTE skills competition, which was amazing.
Forgot about that.
Matt was there.
Yeah, skills competition.
Everybody did amazing. Thank you for putting that on. It was great seeing. Was able to attend the commissioners liaison meeting, which was not nearly as fun as that, but and just looking forward to all the plays coming up at the middle school and the high schools.
Can I caveat on the skills competition?
Sure.
Congratulations. I think we had 3 first place winners in states. They went to states the following week after we were here, down regions. They got 3 first place winners from our schools, which is fantastic. And now they're off to states. And they got, what, $3,000 worth of tools each? Yes. So fantastic program. So congrats to our entire CTE program in the school. All right,
There you go.
fantastic. Here we go.
We'll take it.
Sorry. Okay, I'm done. Andrew? Oh.
I had sick kids and
That's okay.
That's always
I was in
fun.
the weeds. I was in the weeds. I went to the Graysonville Living Wax Museum. I love going to that. The kids do such a good job representing people in history or current people. Anyway, they were. I love their costumes and talking to them all. I got stickers for getting quizzes right and little awards. But anyway, it was good. I did the May legislative meeting on Monday. I also went to Annie. It was so good. I mean, I always love that movie, but they look just like the characters from the movie. The songs were so good. Anyway, it's this weekend. If you have not gone, go. And a live dog, also very impressive. Didn't mean to spoil it, but yes, and I'll have to come see Mamma Mia too. So planning on doing that. And then I went to the SSIC and commissioners meetings, and I'm sorry I missed Skills USA, but thanks for the coverage. And anyway, sounds like it went great.
All right, we have our student board member from Queen Anne's, Mr. Mulchler.
All right. Upcoming events this March. As we move into spring, Queen Anne's has several things to look forward to. As previously mentioned, we have the spring musical of Mamma Mia opening this Friday. We have the Red Cross Blood Drive later this month, sponsored by Queen Anne's County High School and Miss Stanton. Along with spring sports getting rolling, the Queen Anne's ice hockey team will be on ice at the Washington Capitals Ice Arena on Friday, March 20th. Also, a couple of shout-outs and roar-outs are deserved. As previously mentioned as well, the Skills USA Local Challenge was a great event at Queen Anne's County High School. Several QA and KI students went on to regionals. 4 QA students placed in the top 3 of electrical masonry and carpentry competitions at regionals. So a big thank you to our CTE teachers, Ms. Ricketts, and our career coach and Skills USA sponsor. FFA, Future Farmers of America's Spirit Week, Canned Food Drive, and FFA Friday was a great event with farm animals, livestock, tractors, and combines on display at Queen Anne's County High School. Special thank you to Ms. Stokes, and the FFA chapter. We had some great winter sports seasons. Specifically, shout out to QA Swimming, as Coach Kelly Moore was Bayside Coach of the Year, and shout out to QA Wrestling, not only with a successful season and Queen of the Jungle tournament, but Coach Dave Stricker as also Coach of the Year.
All right. Congratulations.
Awesome.
And board members, Mr. Adams couldn't be here tonight, but I got a short statement from him that I'll read on his behalf. So he says, it's a fine time of year here at Kent Island High School with the spring musical Annie going very well and spring sports up and running now. We have band and choir district festivals and the beginning of senior recognitions with the NLI celebration next week. Wants to thank Dr. Kibler, Mr. Pinder, Mr. Murdoch, Mr. O'Donnell, and the maintenance crew and bus drivers for their hard work yesterday during the power outage and getting us back up and running.
You're so heartbroken.
Up and running today. I know it was a hard day for the students. I have to go home early, but back today.
We have it says interim, but it should say Superintendent Dr. Kibler.
Just fixed that.
Yeah, do you have something to tell me? So I attended a lot of the events. It's great to see board members at these events, but I was at the Queen of the Jungle, Mr. Dreyer. It's good to see a bunch of the basketball games. Always great to see the competition. My family, we did enjoy Annie last week, and we're excited for Mamma Mia this week. I got to go down and see Miss Bent at the Kent Island Elementary School African American Read-In. That was a good time. And today I attended the Graysonville Elementary School Leaders in African American History Wax Museum, which is that's one of my favorite events of the school year. Actually, I've been able to make it to that every year in the district, and I look forward to that every year. And I also finished my second round of school visits this month, sitting down with Dr. Schreckengoss and myself, one-on-one with principals, just looking at student achievement and outcomes in the schools and seeing mid-year progress and looking how we're charging ahead towards the end of the year. So always a good time to do that and have individual time with the schools. So it's a great time. And that's it.
Thank you. Okay, up next, we have citizen participation and public comment.
All right. We ask all speakers to keep in mind the following guidelines. Speakers should sign the roster, including their telephone number and address. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes in length. Comments longer than 3 minutes should be submitted in writing. Statements to the board should relate to the matter of general policy over which the board has authority. Comments about the actions or statements of individual staff members are not appropriate for public comments and should be referred to the superintendent of schools or board president. If you have specific questions, the board will make sure an appropriate staff member responds to your question. The board respects your desire and right to convey your message freely, but asks as a courtesy to this board and our citizens to show respect for all. First up, Kristen Bennett.
Right up here.
Good evening, President Capes, Superintendent Kibler, members of the board. My name is Kristen Bennett. I live here in Centerville, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. I'd first like to thank you all for your time that you give to our students, our teachers, and our community as a whole. I'm here to speak about the importance of school choices and the value that a charter school could bring to our county. Every child learns differently. Some thrive in traditional classrooms, while others need a different environment, teaching style, or specific focus to reach their full potential. I have both family and friends that have served Queen Anne's County Public Schools. I'm both impressed and grateful for the resources this county puts into meeting the growing needs of our students in all the various capacities, all that you've mentioned here tonight, let alone everything else you do. With that being said, I also understand that resources are being stretched thin with the swelling population and increasing demand for student services. My son is a second grader at Centerville Elementary School, and it's been an overall positive experience. I have seen class sizes have grown and how that may diminish the ability to provide students with individualized learning. When families have options, students are more likely to succeed academically, socially, and emotionally. Charter schools are still public schools. They're held accountable to the state, open to all students, and funded with public dollars. The difference they provide is some flexibility to innovate, specialize, and respond to the specific needs of students and families in the community. Supporting a charter school doesn't mean abandoning traditional public schools. School choice shouldn't be about competition, but about a collaboration. Charter schools can serve as laboratories for new ideas and teaching styles that, when successful, can benefit the entire school system. In a county like ours, I believe offering additional options can help families keep them here in the county, attract new families, and ensure that they don't feel they must leave the county to find a school that fits their needs. We ourselves have been exploring options to find the right fit for our children's education, and we would love this option to stay within Queen Anne's County schools with an innovative approach to instruction. I'm just respectfully asking the board to consider school choice and charter schools as an opportunity to serve more students well, to encourage innovation, and to strengthen public education in Queen Anne's County. Thank you very much for your time, and most importantly, for your dedication to our students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Marcy.
Hi, I'm Marcy Mamis, and I live in Chestertown, Maryland, but I'm here as your Teacher of the Year representative for 25-26. And with winter sports and my son getting his driver's license, it was difficult to make it to the board meetings and still pick him up on time since I'm his transportation. So I wanted to come and tell you all the wonderful things that I've been doing to represent Queen Anne's County and all that we stand for throughout the state. So in November, our Smith Island retreat was rescheduled from October because of weather, where they couldn't get the boats out. At that retreat, all of the Teachers of the Year were there. We learned with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation not only ecology and the history of Smith Island, but we took a look at what's going on in their economy, both in the past, present, and then I pushed it to the future. Like, what does the future of Smith Island look like? We were treated to one of the original Mary Ida Marshall Smith Island cakes. It's only my second time having one. She is the person who went and lobbied for Smith Island cake to be Maryland's dessert. And she unfortunately was in the hospital when we were there because my goal was to buy one and bring one to you. And then she's since retired, so she's no longer making cakes. But this trip was really instrumental, not only in bonding the members of the toy cohort for this year, but also in how do we celebrate and how do we learn and how do we teach our students about Maryland history and about how to save the Bay and just the ecology of everyday life. So I was really excited about that trip. In December, we toured the State House. I didn't get to go on that trip because each Teacher of the Year took a picture with their tree and for their county. I had an accident in my classroom, and so I was not able to attend that trip. But in February, we went and had a private tour of the Capitol in DC. We got to use the tunnels underneath. We were sponsored by Congresswoman Sarah Elthriff of District 3. So we did a nice tour. It took about an hour. We went under the tunnels, went to her office, and we had a great meeting with her about the importance of civic education, not only teaching our students about how their government works and what their representatives can do and cannot do, but also something that's really important to me is how do they use their skills and talents in their communities for civic engagement. And she really stressed the need to continue to teach this in our schools throughout the curriculum, not just in government classes. On February 20th, I went to Northrop Grumman's STEM Immersion Day as I'm just starting in the engineering pathway as the first level teacher. This was really exciting for me. We got to tour the plant. We got to look at how the Northrop Grumman has grown over the years, radar technology and what they've done. We got to tour one of their in-flight test labs and meet test pilots. We met young, and this was one of the more important parts of it. We met very young engineers who've come in, and we got to sit down and ask them, what do you wish you had been practiced more or prepared more? What do you wish you had in high school and even the lower grades so that when you came to this or you realized this job was there? Oh, I did not get to anything. Can I sign up for a second 3 minutes? Or am I done? Am I done?
We have a second public comment session at the end. come back.
I have kids waiting. But to sum it up quickly, I did really think in March. So March, I'll come back and talk about it. March 2nd, I went to the House of Representatives. March 10th, I'm going to be at the Teach Conference and I'm presenting. And on March 19th, I'm going to the Common Ground Conference and I'm presenting. So a lot of things for Queen Anne's County March. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Miss Christina Palmer.
Hello, good evening. My name is Christina Palmer, and I'm a parent in Queen Anne's County Public Schools. I'm here tonight to support the proposed classical charter school and to advocate for direct classroom support in our elementary schools. A classical charter school is a public school, publicly funded, open to all families, and accountable to state standards. In our district, funding follows the student. This proposal offers families another strong academic pathway while remaining fully part of our public school system. Now I would like to speak about classroom reality. Several of our elementary classrooms are currently operating at 25 students to 1 teacher. As enrollment grows, that pressure will only increase. The Maryland Pre-K to 3 literacy policy sets a high bar for proficiency, but we cannot raise expectations without strengthening the support inside the 4 walls of the classroom. In the draft budget, I noticed $466,000 was allocated for expanded in-school suspension and over $350,000 for new central office roles. I understand that these investments are intended to strengthen district operations and student supports, and I appreciate that goal. However, I respectfully ask the board to consider how those investments compare to direct classroom support. These roles do not change what happens inside a first grade classroom in the middle of a Tuesday morning. A teacher cannot be in 3 places at once. When a student is struggling with emotional regulation or a task while the rest of the class waits, instructional time evaporates. Supporting students early before problems escalate is how we prevent the academic and emotional crisis that lead to suspension later. Our elementary students spend over 1,100 hours each year inside their classrooms. That is where reading takes hold. That is where confidence grows. A paraprofessional is not a luxury. It is a Tier 1 prevention strategy. It costs far less to support a child's functional success in first grade than it does to catch them up in 5th. Expanding school choice and strengthening elementary classrooms are not competing priorities. They go hand in hand. If we want strong literacy and safe learning environments, the investment must be at the point of impact, which is the classroom. Early support is the most powerful investment we can make. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Richard McNeil.
I'm going to sit on the end. Good evening. Just to bring everybody up to date, our retirement group sponsored their second community information. We had a group from the Sheriff's Department talk about frauds and scams. Very informative, and unfortunately several families in this county have been impacted by that. But it was a 2.5-hour presentation and exceptionally well informed. Thank you to the Sheriff's Department for doing that. We would like to, as we look towards the end of the school year and retirement, we would like to partner with the Board of Education to talk to and celebrate those who are retiring, if that would be possible. And, we'd love to work with you on that and to welcome those folks into our group, because we think that communication beyond the work time is important to keep everybody up to date on pensions and what's going on in the state legislators. So if we could work that out, I would appreciate that, and our whole group would. One of the things that we have been looking at is the possibility of impact on budgets, which I'm sure you all are looking at in terms of what we hear, that the pension contribution, some of that's coming back to the locals, and also strong schools. That committee that started, 4, maybe 5 years ago now, 6 years ago, how some of those impacts that are not funded by the state are going to be impacted on the local budget, and that's beyond my control. But I appreciate how you all are looking at that, especially at this time of year with the budgets and so forth. And thank you for working with the commissioners in support of all that. One of the things that I would love to see is more communication from the schools out about the plays. They're excellent, and we have students who are really talented to put those on. And unfortunately, I know they're crowded, but we need to get those out so people in the community really know that this is one of the cheapest, best entertainment that you can get anywhere in Queen Anne's County. It's just great. So the more we can do about that. And again, as we look in at budgets, I hope that you are keeping in mind the mental health of our students and our teachers and so forth. But the mental health of our students, it really impacts all of us all the way down the line. And we thank you for that. Our next meeting is Wednesday, and we will be, it's our annual meeting where the state wants information from all of us. So enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Jamie Dean. Oh. All right. Heather Eklund. Nope.
They were here for the old.
Yeah, I think so. They just signed up. Yeah. All right. Ms. D'Onofrio, you're up next.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Amanda D'Onofrio, Centerville. I wanted to come up here again and talk about bullying. In 2001, 2 days before her 18th birthday, my sister committed suicide. And this continues to be a problem for teenagers in our country. And while not all of it can be attributed to bullying, some of it and too much of it often is related to the bullying they face in school. And while I see policy change in regards to documentation of bullying and abuse, that really isn't getting at the crux of the problem, and it is not finding a way to meet a generation who is handling their lives and their social lives, especially, in a much different manner than how we were. Now, while I appreciate good policy and having the ability to document it, that to me is more of a way to protect a system from liability than it is to benefit the emotional health of our young students and of our teachers, who are often stressed with the student-to-teacher ratio being what it is. I see that we have a lot going on for our students to try and help get these services to them, but I also feel that as a parent who goes to these meetings and other meetings, that I know more about them than some of the students I've spoken to, and that is problematic. I think that we need to start taking a different approach, and it needs to look into what some other countries do, where we teach empathy and we teach social skills that the children are not learning when they're tied to their devices. And I also think that we need to make sure that our students in middle school and high school have access to a safe room within their school where they can take a break and get help if they need it. Because while people may think that a lot of bullying might happen at recess or things like that, the majority of bullying takes place within the classroom. Teachers cannot have their eyes on 20-something students at once. They cannot see everything. And my daughter, she struggles with bullying. She didn't go to school yesterday. I kept her home because she deals with the same child for the past few years who is bullying her. He doesn't say anything extreme at this age, but even something not extreme, when it is based on repetition and continually happening to you, can really disturb you. For instance, Dr. Kibler is delightful. He's very kind. He's very well-mannered. He seems like a very nice man. However, if I were to work with him and every single day when I passed him, I were to poke him, it wouldn't hurt him. It wouldn't damage any articles of clothing. But if I continue to do it day in and day out, it becomes exhausting. It becomes unbearable. And that is what my daughter and other students deal with bullying in these schools. Stomp Against Bullying has resources to apply for a room within your school's 5th to 12th grade that can provide resources and benefits for students to have a safe space within their school when they're feeling this.
Was there anybody else that wanted to make a public comment? That's it.
All right, next up we have our current board action items. We have 6.01, the Human Resources Report. I'd like to make a motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve the Human Resources Report and the executive team member contracts as presented in closed session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So if we could just take a moment before we jump to the next one, I did want to make one announcement about the HR report. Thank you all for approving that tonight. And to continue the trend from last month with removing the interim tag on my name, I do want to congratulate Mr. Watkins for being promoted to Chief Financial Officer, taking the interim tag off of his name, as well as Dr. Schreckengast, who couldn't be with us tonight, no longer interim assistant superintendent, but now assistant superintendent. Congratulations.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Eric Wright with the Lions Band overnight field trip.
Good evening. You have to pardon what I'm fighting right now. I don't have my normal resonant voice that I do. Those that know me knows that this isn't really me. But I'm here on behalf of the Queen Anne's County High School Lions Band program, as we are seeking approval for our overnight trip to attend the Music in the Parks Festival up in Hershey, Pennsylvania, the first weekend in May. My program that I have now been the director of for the past 24 years has traveled each spring, having the chance to be adjudicated by nationally recognized adjudicators and have the opportunity to see other performing ensembles from around the country to see those ensembles perform as well. And so we are coming for that approval. All students that have the interest in attending have the opportunity to attend through a scholarship program that we have. So every student that has expressed an interest to go is being afforded that opportunity.
Awesome.
Do you need any more chaperones?
I will always take more chaperones. More chaperones, that's more fun.
As long as I get to ride rides.
There you go.
That's part of it.
Can I make a motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve the overnight field trip to Hershey, PA from May 1st through the 3rd, 2026 for the Queen Anne's County High School Band to participate in an adjudicated performance and evaluation. The fiscal impact is not applicable. The budget source is fundraisers, scholarships, and student payments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Dr. Guido for the SIOP model training.
Good evening, President Capes, Dr. Kibler, members of the board and executive team. My name is Darren Guido, Supervisor of Instruction in the areas of social studies, world languages, service learning, and multilingual learners. Tonight, I come before you seeking approval to purchase a series of 3 workshops from Cal Solutions, SIOP for educators, SIOP for administrators, and SIOP for trainers. SIOP is an acronym that stands for Sheltered Instruction Observation Protocol. The SIOP motto is an instructional framework for lesson design and delivery. It's based on and validated by research and it has proven effective in addressing the academic needs of English learners in the United States and around the world. There's a total of 9 days of trainings that we are looking to purchase. SIOP for Educators workshop will be scheduled this spring, and we'll be able to train up to 35 educators in this model. SIOP for Trainers will be scheduled in fall of 2026, and we can train 7 of our educators to become trainers to train additional educators. And we'll schedule those trainings for other educators in the summer of 2027. And then we'll also have 1-day training of SIOP for administrators, and that'll be partnered with the SIOP for trainers. So it'll be 5 days in the fall that we'll train those. So if we have teachers who are using the SIOP model, we want administrators to understand what they should be seeing as they are in those classrooms. Funds for this will come from a Title III immigrant grant that we received in January of 2026.
Do you have any questions? I motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve purchasing 3 SIOP workshops, fiscal impact $61,644.00, budget source FY26 Title III immigrant grant.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mrs. Smith with non-public tuition payment for Everstand and the Benedictine School.
Good evening, President Capes, Dr. Kibler, members of the board, and members of the executive team. For the record, my name is Jolene Smith. I'm the Supervisor of Special Education, and I bring before you this evening 2 requests for non-public tuition. The first is to Everstand or the Strawbridge School. This is for 1 student in the amount of $129,971. That would be funded from the FY26 restricted and unrestricted budgets. And then the second request is for non-public tuition payment to the Benedictine School for a half-year payment of $69,771.31. And that too would come from the FY26 restricted and unrestricted budget.
I'd like to make a motion, I'll do them separately, for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve the non-public tuition payment for student at Everstand, the Strawbridge School, fiscal impact $129,971.00, budget source FY26 restricted and unrestricted operating budget.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I would like to make a motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve the non-public tuition payment for students at the Benedictine School, fiscal impact $69,771.31, budget source FY26 restricted and unrestricted operating budget.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a nice
you.
evening.
Thank you, you too. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Dr. Kibler with the school calendar.
Hey. So last month we talked about the proposed school calendars. I shared those with the board and asked if you all would like to continue with the method we've been using the past few years with sending the surveys out to district stakeholders, employees, and families. And I have those results for you tonight. I do want to thank members of the Citizens Advisory Council or Committee and the School System Improvement Committee for their input into these calendars. There's a lot of limitations in what we can do with state law and what we can and can't put into the calendars, a lot of restrictions, but there are some choices that we can make. And I appreciate all of the opinions. We can't do every suggestion all the time, but I think we had 3 good options, and I've got the results to show you tonight. I know that I had also talked about one of the new changes in the calendar for graduation, and so you had also asked me to poll the high schools about their thoughts on the best time for graduation. So I have those results too. I don't know which one you guys want to start on. Maybe we should actually start on the graduation results, because as long as you're good with that, that impacts the calendar. So if I put the graduation preferences up, so all we basically ask was if they were a parent, guardian, an employee, or both a parent and guardian, and when they're to rank their preferences for the time of graduation. And we kept with the weekday at 10 a.m. like we've done the past few years, the weekday at 6 p.m., a weekend as requested, and then if they had no preference. And you can see that overall, the first preference of those respondents was overwhelmingly to continue with the weekday 10 a.m. time slot, no matter how you break it down when you look at parents, employees, and both an employee and guardian. I will tell you that in full transparency, the only folks that we surveyed for this were high school families. We just felt like high school families are the ones closest to graduation. Yep. And so I didn't want to do just the senior class just because their graduation's already set. Then you worry about the number of respondents and are you getting a fair shot? So asking just high school community made the most sense. And it was only the high school staff as well. So this is not representative of the entire staff of the district, just to let you all know. If anybody has questions about the survey. Okay. So then if we go back just to the calendar survey results as well, I have those here to show everybody. As you can see, calendar B was the winner. Again, the first question on the survey is if folks were a parent guardian, an employee, or both an employee and a parent guardian. And in any case, overall or any of that disaggregated, calendar B was the number one preference. The only change that I made in the calendars from what you all saw to what went out then to the families was that in calendars A and B that had a spring break, I went forward with the board's request to make Friday, Thursday, and Wednesday of spring break. And I'm talking backwards, just the way we would use them. Weather contingency days.
If we went calendar B, the only thing I would suggest is possibly still making President's Day a weather contingent day, because at that point we only have 3 during spring break. We spoke last time, said we've averaged over the last, I think he said, Mr. Pinder came up 15 years or something like that, average has been 5. So I suggest at least having President's Day as a contingent day. That'd make us have 4. And then
when you have the 3 built in as well.
Right.
So we would have 7, but you would also have the ability then, depending on the number of snow days or inclement weather days, to pick which ones you used first, whether you used President's Day, the spring break days, or the days that are built in. It would give you all the autonomy if you didn't have many inclement weather days. In a year like this, we would have used them all.
Right. Yep.
But in some of the years we've had where we haven't had much, you would be able to pick. And if it only ended up being 1, we might make a decision based on feedback that we'd rather preserve the whole spring break and add the June day, or just use the President's Day.
Right. That's what I was saying. If we just put it on the calendar.
Sure.
And then it's up, the board can all say something, but having President's Day, at least having it on the calendar as a contingency day, people can properly prepare for it instead of having to vote, take it to the state and everybody gets all surprised by it again.
Sure. The President's Day, because that's a holiday, we can still do it. That requires a waiver all the time. Yeah. The spring break wouldn't require a waiver. So what I'm asking for tonight is a vote on one of the calendars. My recommendation to you all would be to go with what you can do whatever you'd like. I would recommend that we would go with calendar B. If if the board would like to do the President's Day suggestion, I would appreciate if the motion just said, I'd like to make a motion to vote for calendar B with the addition of President's Day as a weather contingency day, would be my recommendation.
Does anybody have any questions or comments about the President's Day? No. Make a motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve calendar option B with using President's Day as a snow day if needed for the 2026-2027 calendar.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Barraclough for policy approval of 260.
Good evening, President Capes, Vice President Dreyer, board members, executive team, Superintendent Kibler. For the record, my name is Daryl Barraclough. I'm the Supervisor of Facilities and Design. Before you this evening, we have approval of Policy 260, Selection of Architects and Engineers for Public School Construction. Again, this is for approval this evening. The two prior reads were completed and we received no public comment. Any questions?
Don't have any. Hearing any? Motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve policy 260, subject to final edits for format and style.
Second.
All is in favor?
Aye. Wanted that one. It's a tie. So we all wanted that one. It was like a delay, so I was like, all right.
All right. We have you up again, Mr. Barraclough, for CIP budget approval.
Okay. This evening, we have the CIP approval. The CIP that was presented for information last week remains unchanged from what was presented for information. So this evening, I am asking for the board's approval to move forward with this CIP. One clarification that I do want to make to last week's presentation was regarding the conversation regarding portables. I do want to clarify that when we do demolish portables, it's more than just attaching wheels to portables and hauling them off. We do have to remove foundations, remove piers, remove underground utilities, remove sidewalks, remove ramps, those sorts of things that are all associated with the portable. And once those items are removed, we would grade the site, retop soil, reseed and mulch so that it restores the area. So that kind of gives a little more clarification on what the dollar figures are that are represented in the CIP, just for clarification's sake. I wasn't very clear on that last week when I spoke on that. So.
Thank you.
So any questions or comments?
I just wanted to say, so last week we went ahead and because we hadn't had questions and we were all ready to move forward, you all voted to approve the operating budget. Since last week was the first time we had presented this CIP, we wanted to give you the week to think about it and ask questions. Assuming you vote and approve it now, we do have under information items, operating budget for FY27, just a brief comment, and I'll kind of talk about the next steps for both the operating budget and the CIP as it will move along in the process with the county, just to give you all a heads up.
I make a motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve the FY27 county CIP budget.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, you're up again, Mr. Barraclough, for Centerville Middle School feasibility study.
Very good, thank you. With me this evening, I'm going to let Jeremy introduce himself.
Hi, for the record, my name is Jeremy Klein with Wheeler Goodman Massick Architects.
And?
Stacy Rankin, principal of Centerville Middle School.
Very good. Do we have the...
It should be up if you move the cursor down. So they're going to get started. We'll look at the tabs at the top, Mr. Barraclough.
Yeah. No, I'm right there. Oh, you got it already.
And
That's
go to
Like I already said it.
there, man.
Thought you said you said that. Okay, that wasn't it. All right, we're going to go right here.
Well, while they get this set up, they're gonna run through the presentation. I just wanted to start by first thanking the committee for their work on the feasibility study. We had a team of Queen Anne's County Public School employees, Dr. Rankin as well, with principal of Centerville Middle School. I want to thank Jeremy Klein of WGM Architects for his help in putting the presentation as well as the feasibility study in general. They're going to talk through the whole process with Centerville Middle School. I do want to just kind of let the public know, because if you read the feasibility study, it's a long document, a lot goes into it. Even this presentation, there's a lot of information. They're going to cover kind of the steps, just to kind of let the cat out of the bag at the beginning. Part of the purpose of this feasibility study is to make the recommendation for the school, what we think, are we just painting it? Are we renovating it? Are we building a new school? And what we will get to here is that the recommendation from the committee for the feasibility study is to replace Centerville Middle School at the site where the school is, basically beside it. So that's kind of the purpose of the presentation, is to tell you that, get you to vote on the feasibility study if you agree with it, but to walk you through the whole process to make sure the public is informed of what all goes into it. So I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. All right, so before I actually get started on the presentation, I did want to make a quick announcement on some very good news that we received today. I may have mentioned it in the past during some other presentations. We applied for a grant through Maryland Energy Administration. We applied for a grant of $850,000 to assist with some of the design costs that would be associated with the increase in effort to design this school as a net zero school. And just to kind of refresh everybody on that, net zero means that it would generate the energy consumed in a year by renewable sources on site. So in essence, it would be basically energy efficient enough with PV photovoltaic panels on the roof that those photovoltaic panels generate enough electricity to power the school for the entire year with a zero offset to the grid. So with that, Maryland Energy Administration did advise us that today that we were approved for the $850,000. So that's another $850,000 that we can kind of put into the pot of money for design. These grants are able to be stacked. So once we get a net zero design and we move forward with net zero and the project is bid and awarded, we can then apply for the actual different pieces and components of net zero and make other applications for grants, for additional grant funds to MEA. So we have the opportunity for more grant dollars that can go help offset these costs. So that's really great news. So I wanted to kind of share that before I jumped into the presentation. So as far as presentation, or as far as project milestones go, before you, the first slide here, you'll see that the educational specifications is really the first milestone. That's followed by the educational, or the feasibility study. Feasibility study is what we're here to look at this evening and gain board approval. Once that process goes off, we follow that with the solicitation for an architect and an award, and that kind of gets the ball rolling on the design. Then we have schematic design, design development, construction documents, and then we can bid the project, award the project, go through construction, fit the building out with furnishings and equipment, get the kids in the seat, and then we can kind of close out the project. And what I've kind of done here in a really quick snapshot takes a lot of time. There's a lot of time in each one of these processes. The bold colors there, that is what we've done to date. Everything that's in normal text is yet to be completed, and those with an asterisk are things that we're going to come back to you and seek board approval, because that's what is required so that we can send it up to the state for their review and consideration. So before I turn it over to Jeremy with the presentation, any questions on milestones? Okay. Jeremy, your show.
Sure. So you have on this screen, again, thank you for letting us present today. On the screen is the feasibility study committee who were integral in putting this document together. And we have the dates listed below when we had whole committee meetings and we brought different drafts of the feasibility study forward to the committee, solicited comments, and then we would adjust the drafts based on those comments. Our final meeting in January is when the feasibility study was reviewed, and as Dr. Kibler presented, the committee overwhelmingly selected what you're going to see is option D from the feasibility study, and I'll go through the options each briefly. You have the entire document to review if you want to see more detail. But the committee was overwhelmingly in support of option D, which is replacement on the existing Centerville Middle School site. This is proposal D. In the previous slide when Darrell was talking and he was talking about the general milestones that happen in the process. You've heard us say this before. The educational specification is sort of the recipe for the project. It's the elements that go into whatever that project is going to be, the program elements that go into that project. The feasibility study builds on the educational specification. It takes those program elements and it starts to test fit them to different scenarios. So what the feasibility study is not, is it is not a design. It is an evaluation and a testing of whether those specific program elements could work on a specific site or in a specific set of circumstances. So we do designs and concepts to test fit that, and that's the graphics that you see here. But I want to, be very clear up front that the graphics that you see here are not necessarily at all indicative of what a new Centerville Middle School will look like. This is a proof of concept that this could work in a various scenario. Proposal D, you can see on the snapshot here. It proposes replacement of the existing middle school on the same site. You can see in dashed gray the existing Centerville Middle School, a new building built to the side of that, rearrangement of the bus loop and parking, and then associated staff and visitor parking. Existing Centerville Middle School is about 86,000 square feet. The educational specifications yielded that the new Centerville Middle School will be just under 99,000 square feet. That's the program that we're looking to accommodate. This proposal D would have a construction timeline of around 2 years, an estimated construction cost of just under $72 million. It would require a minimum demolition of Centerville Middle School of around 40,000 square feet, and I'll touch on that a little bit later in the slide, and then a brand new school construction, again, of 99,000 square feet.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Like the one thing that was kind of hard for a lot of the committee members, like when we went through this and we look at these pictures, this is not necessarily how the site would look or the school will look. It's just as we did the ed specs and like what a gymnasium would look like, a cafeteria, you basically get these blocks. Jeremy puts them together, and this is just kind of hypothetically how it could fit on the site.
Yep.
So I know that was problematic for me. Whether or not I want it to or not want it to look like that.
When you see a picture, yeah, right. you start to go with it. I'm not going to run down the advantages on this slide. You see them listed there, but I'm gonna come back to proposal D at the end. This is a snapshot of sort of all of the alternatives that are reviewed in the feasibility study. Proposal A and Proposal B on the side are two options that the state puts forth that they like to see evaluated in any feasibility study. Proposal A is do nothing. That's pretty self-explanatory. It doesn't cost anything. Nothing's happening to Centerville Middle School. Proposal B is patch and paint. That's really a finish type upgrade within the school. No programmatic changes, alterations. nobody really considered those as viable alternatives to Centerville Middle School as it exists today. Proposal C is modernization, which involves comprehensive renovation to existing Centerville Middle School as well as selective additions. Proposal D, again, is the recommended option, replacement on the existing site. And this was a little unique for feasibility studies to look at, but we looked at an alternate site, which was the existing or the previous Board of Education site on Chesterfield Avenue. We didn't know that we would look at two alternatives, but we ended up looking at two alternatives on that particular site as well, which both involved partial demolition of the existing building and then a large addition onto that building. So this is sort of a snapshot of each of the options, and I'm going to touch on them in a little more detail here. Proposal C, modernization. Again, this is additions and extensive renovations to the existing middle school, renovation of the 86,000 square foot school, an addition of about 12,500 square feet to get you to that total square footage just under 99,000. This is about $55 million in estimated construction cost. When we start to look at the advantages and the disadvantages, the cost comes up in the advantages column. And part of the reason the cost is lower is because you are reusing the entire existing school structure. That's essentially what you're able to maintain from the existing school. It would be the least amount of demolition because we're reusing the school. And it would leave existing Centerville Middle School site. We would make some changes to the site elements, or there would be some changes to the site elements, but it would leave a large part of the site relatively untouched. The disadvantages to this, though, are many. It would be the longest construction timeline of any of the options we looked at. And it would be the longest because it would be the most painful or the most disruptive. To accomplish this, this would be what you call a phased occupied renovation. The school system has done those type of renovations before, and it involves moving students around the school piece by piece, phase by phase, as you renovate the school to address these different items. It would, I'm not going to say impossible, but this would be the hardest option to achieve the net zero goal that Daryl just talked about, the grant that was just awarded today, and that's because you're dealing with an existing envelope in the existing structure. You would certainly upgrade the envelope, update the envelope to try to make it more energy efficient, but you are in large part bound, within the existing structure that you're dealing with, and that also introduces some limitations on the types or options for mechanical systems that you can do. You'll see this little efficiency number up at the top of the slide. I won't get into that too much, but that's essentially looking at taking that recipe of the educational specifications and then applying it to these different test fits. How efficient can these buildings end up being to meet that program? What you find whenever you're dealing with a modernization or extensive renovation type scenario is you are getting spaces roughly aligned with what the educational specification is going for, but just by virtue of working within an existing shell, some spaces are going to be oversized, some spaces are going to be undersized. You're going to try to get about within 10% of each of those targets within the ed spec, but you're not going to be able to dial it exactly in. Clearly, the building is almost 50 years old, and obviously, as part of this extensive renovation, it would need major upgrades. The alternate site, Chesterfield Avenue, the building out there was a school, has been throughout its history. Before it was the Board of Education building. So we started looking at what if this was to be, again, comprehensively and completely renovated to be a school again. As we got into the study here, you can see we first looked at what we called option E1. That was keeping the entire front part, the more historic portion of the building that fronts along Chesterfield. That's about 37,000 square feet, and that would have a 65,000 square foot addition. We had to start looking at option E2 because the real challenges for this site were not necessarily related to the building, but they are all specifically site related. So a number of things about this site started to give us a real problem. One, we started looking at option E2 because the width of the existing building is so tight on the existing lot lines that when you start to introduce a current present-day school use with the number of buses that come into Centerville Middle School and trying to separate bus traffic from drop-off traffic and have separate staff parking, it gets very difficult to accommodate with that width of the building across the front of the site and trying to figure out how that works. That's why we looked at option E2, where we then just kept only the original historic schoolhouse. That's that little white square that you see down the bottom in proposal E2. That's just under 11,000 square feet, so you're talking about a 92,000 square foot addition. It's almost a brand new school at that point, almost an entirely new building. You can get a more successful site layout by doing that. You can see that we're showing a new orange building there that's pulled slightly farther off of the lot line on that side. One of the nasty surprises that we found when we were reviewing this site, you'll see at the first bullet under disadvantages, this site, to do any kind of project like this, would require what's called a growth allocation. Growth allocation means that we found out doing initial research that this site is in the LDA for the town, which is the limited development area. It is not in the IDA. We had an assumption that was in the IDA because kind of everything around it is. It's not, it's in the LDA. So this would require what's called a growth allocation, which would be approved to move it into the IDA, the intensive development area. This is all related to lot coverage on the site. Our initial expectations are that this is a process that probably would be approved, but it would certainly add to the timeline of that project. Getting that growth allocation can be a multi-year process to get that type of approval. Again, because of the site, some of the disadvantages, it leads to a less efficient floor plan. I talked about the design constraints on the size and shape of the property. It changes where people are used to going to the middle school right now, and certainly would have impacts on the traffic of the surrounding area down off of Chesterfield Avenue. Some of the advantages there, it would have that same shorter construction timeline because it's essentially a new building. You're not dealing with a phased occupied renovation. Students would all be in existing Centerville Middle School while this was happening. It would be easier to achieve net zero in this building, again, because it's almost entirely a brand new building. You can see the construction costs at $68 million and $72 million are much more up around that almost new full building zone. This is a chart that tries to put options C, D, and E next to each other and just show you sort of in green where we thought certain specific criteria were fully met, in yellow where we felt that they were met to some extent, and in red where they were not met. So the criteria running down the left-hand side, meeting the educational goals of the facility. So this is, how much are we able to accommodate the educational specification on the site. Building and site functionality, is it able to meet the net zero energy goals? What are the parameters of the construction process or the realities of the construction process? And then finally, I'll point to that last bullet. This is not specifically related to the goals of this feasibility study, but we do know that there's been discussion amongst the system about a potential future CTE project. So we also wanted to just tangentially look at how each of these options could potentially affect a future a future CTE project. You can see from that option C is the one that really ended up with 2 elements in the red. The construction process is a clear negative there. And for a future CTE project, option D and option E both potentially allow reuse of either all or part of existing Centerville Middle School as a future CTE facility, which obviously option C, modernization, does not allow. Up in the higher criteria goals, educational, building and site functionality, net zero energy. Option C and E partially met those 3 goals. Option D was the one that really met the goals all the way around. Again, this was kind of the evaluation that the entire committee that you saw on that first slide went through. Everybody voted, and everybody on the committee, not myself. And again, the overwhelming suggestion was that you would vote to approve option D. Bring us back around to option D again, just to close it up. Shorter construction timeline, less disruption to school activity, because while the phasing for this would be such that the new building would be built first so that you could keep existing Centerville Middle School completely intact, up and running the way it runs, and only upon moving over to the new school would you then start either partial or full demolition of existing Centerville Middle School to allow for the sort of final site rearrangements of elements that happen there. Easier to achieve net zero as a brand new building, meets all the ed spec requirements, and we touched on the CTE piece. 2 more graphics, again, not existing or not real designs, but this is just showing you some of what you'll find in the feasibility study for all of these options, looking at test fits of the educational specification and the program in each of these scenarios, and a graphic on the right-hand side showing we have an appendix that talks about thoughts about the CTE program in each of those scenarios. So that's a brief overview. I think I already ran over the time I was allotted, so that's it for the presentation. Happy to take any questions.
I have one. So school would be in session during construction,
Yes.
and are we trying to do most of the construction while the kids aren't there? Or are we just hoping not to make a lot of noise that we don't? It's just a question.
I can field that one. So obviously with proposal D, the plan would be to let the contractor work throughout the normal year. There are going to be periods of some disruption. I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat it or try to cast any illusions. I mean, there are going to be periods of time when the site contractor is going to have like a vibratory roller, and it's going to feel like the building is shaking. I mean, it's going to happen. What we typically do, we do work very closely with the school. We'll speak with Dr. Rankin to make sure that, if any kind of testing or anything of that nature, anything critical that's going on at the school, we'll coordinate that with construction to make sure that happens. During periods of when they aren't testing, we'll shift construction activities. The contractor is going to have the ability to work 7 days a week. Unfortunately, I can't make them work 7 days a week, but they are going to be held, their feet are going to be held to the fire on what a substantial completion date is, and they're going to be held to that. But again, to answer your direct question, construction will be going on throughout the school year. The objective would be to get as much done as possible during the warmer season, the warmer weather, especially with things like footings and that sort of thing. But yeah, we're going to have to work year round to make that kind of 24-month schedule happen for a new construction on a new building.
We get a lot of comments and suggestions from the community. So you just need to be prepared for additional comments and suggestions about how the students are faring during construction, just so we're all prepared.
Well, I can tell you that, as Jeremy touched on, Proposal D, the construction of a new building on site adjacent to the school is going to be far more palpable to any of the students than a 3.5-year phased occupied construction. It's not fun moving kids from one side of the building to another, from old classrooms to new classrooms, or put portables on site, or do whatever we have to do to make those kind of accommodations a reality. I've been through a lot of them. They're costly. They're not fun. You have a lot of unknowns that once you start getting into the walls of a 50-year-old building, you don't know what you're going to find. So there's a lot of things that, quite honestly, there's a lot of things that this presentation isn't going to say because they're unknowns. I mean, the cost estimates can't tell you what's going to happen when we cut into a wall and find something that we weren't expecting, or bust through a floor and find something that we weren't expecting. It happens. We do build contingencies in, but that we do the best we can do with those kind of projects. They're not fun. So.
I know we're not there yet, but when would time frame of all this, like what years, when, months is this?
We've talked about that. What I can tell you, the quick and short answer, which I'm sure is probably the answer that you're going to want, is when are kids going to be in seats in their new building? Not all the little timelines in between.
I was more thinking like when would construction start? Yeah. Construction,
we're looking at construction beginning sometime around June of 28. June of 2028, and with a 2-year construction duration, it would be kids in seats August of 2030.
And that's still pending funding and
everything. Yeah. There's a lot of pendings that are out there. Funding is one of the things that's unknown right now, with the exception of design funding. We have gotten the guarantee from both the county and the state that they are fully funding the design that we've requested. So the next step, obviously, is getting the feasibility study approved tonight, and then we can forward that to the state for their review and comment. Then that moves us one step closer to seeking the construction funding from both the county and the state. This is on the state's radar. I mean, we do have to provide them with a 6-year CIP, so this has been on the radar. It's been on their radar for quite a few number of years. So we are looking at a lot of different funding avenues from a construction standpoint, aside from the CIP. I touched on it earlier with potential grants from MEA, but the state also it's coming to its twilight years, but they have a program that's Built to Learn Act, so we are going to be pushing towards getting some BTL money for the project as well. So, any other questions?
Anybody else?
I'm all for it.
Let's go.
Exciting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I make a motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to support the building committee's recommendation and approve the feasibility study with the recommendation of Proposal D, a replacement school on the same site.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We have Mr. Barraclough again for the transfer of Chesterfield.
Last one for me this evening. Okay, so with the feasibility study approved, we have the former Board of Education building, which is 202 Chesterfield Avenue. I come before you this evening seeking the board's approval to return ownership of that building back to the county. That requires board approval. Once we obtain board approval, if the board does vote favorably in allowing us to do that, I would take that approval, and it does have to go to the state. The state, through their clearinghouse, the state superintendent has to review the request and approve the return of the building back to the county. The background and reasoning behind that is that since it was a former school, the state has to approve all schools before they're returned back to the county. And I think the idea with that is that you don't return buildings back to the county or back to their origins and then turn around within a year or two and request a brand new school. So they're kind of looking at making sure that folks aren't trying to do that. So we're obviously not trying to do that. We just want to get this back to the county so they can hopefully find a use for it. So any questions on the return?
So I have a question. It might be more for you. So all of the historic artifacts we had in the back of the room, all of the paintings and everything that was on the walls and everything with that building, has that all been removed and stored somewhere, or? No,
it's physically still in the building. That's not Queen Anne's County Public Schools property. That's actually the alumni. That's Centerville High School Alumni Association's property. We do have temporary conditioning in the building. We've moved a lot of those photographs and those sort of things to I'm going to get the room incorrect. I think it's room C upstairs. We do have some temporary heat in that room to kind of keep it a little more tempered and a little more, since it is a little more tempered and cool.
But they're aware that they need to.
I'm sorry?
They are aware that they need to pick it up.
They are aware of it. As a matter of fact, I think they meet monthly, and they had been meeting there monthly while we were occupying the building, and I think they're meeting in the library temporarily.
But shouldn't they get on that sooner than later?
I was going to say.
I mean, we're keeping a room temperate, spending money just so they can store stuff there.
That's why we want to get it back to the county.
Well, yeah, I'm saying, are they dragging
We
their
get it back
feet?
to
Like,
the
are
county,
they meet monthly? I mean, it shouldn't take that long, but a weekend to go in there and.
Yeah, I mean, we're as soon as we get it back to the county, we're gonna.
I just know, like, a lot of them, I know it doesn't belong to the schools, but to preserve that's a lot of the history for Queen Anne's County.
It certainly is,
So,
yeah. It's
just trying to look to preserve.
Back to the county, what are they going to do with the building? You know what I mean?
Right.
So there is still a potential that, the alumni could be housed there for that.
Gotcha. Okay, tracking.
I motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve the transfer of 202 Chesterfield Avenue, Centerville, Maryland property back to the Queen Anne's County Commissioners.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Next up, we have Mr. Pinder for the new and used buses.
I feel like you get 2 buses.
Just about.
Good evening, President Capes, Dr. Kibler, board members, executive team. For the record, my name is Sid Pinder, Chief Operating Officer. I'm here before you tonight to seek approval of 2 bus purchases. The first one is approval for Mr. Lawrence Chenault of L&S Bus Service Incorporated to purchase a new or used bus for the 26-27 school year to replace bus 10712. Bus 10712 will have met its 15-year life cycle, and per COMAR, you're not allowed to transport students on any buses after 15 years. The physical impact could be $34,000. Again, it's based upon the year of the bus, so if he purchases a used bus, it will be lower than what that cost is there. That is coming out of the FY27 operating budget. Any questions?
I make a motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve Mr. Lawrence Chenault and L&S Bus Service Incorporated to purchase a new or used bus for the 2026-27 school year to replace bus number 10712, fiscal impact $34,000, budget source FY27 operating budget.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The second bus is again for Mr. Lawrence Chenault of LNS Bus Service, Inc. to purchase a new or used bus to replace Bus 9912. Similar to the first bus, this bus has met its 15-year life cycle and per COMAR cannot be used to transport students. Again, it will be based upon the year of the bus that will impact the physical impact of $34,000, and that will be coming out of the FY27 operating budget.
Make a motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve Mr. Lawrence Chenault of LNS Bus Service Incorporated to purchase a new or used bus for the 26-27 school year to replace bus number 9912, fiscal impact $34,000, budget source FY27 operating budget.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have a break. Does anybody need one?
Nope. Keep going.
All right. For information items, we have 8.01. We have Mrs. Patson.
Good evening, President Capes, members of the board, Dr. Kibler, members of the executive team. For the record, my name is Bridget Passon, English Language Arts Supervisor for grades 3 through 12. I'm here tonight for the second read of the promotion and retention policy. It has been out for public comment. We have not received any public comments or recommendations for edits on it. Following my presentation last month, I just want to note that we did get a parent email, but mostly about our procedures for placing students in intervention, which both Angela and I answered that concerned parents' questions. All questions about procedures, data points, the structure of our interventions, and that's all information that we eventually hope to get on a website once we get this retention policy passed, so that we're even more transparent with our parents. A point of clarification, so when we spoke last month, the point and the question came up about fourth graders who don't have a good cause exemption and what supports would be in place for them. So in our initial communication with the state and with help on the first draft, our liaison at the time explained to us that for parents who want to promote their fourth grade student, even though they don't have a good cause exemption, we have to offer them summer school and or before or after school programs. That did cause some confusion, and we had a great conversation about it, and the question came up here, so I went back to the State Department. And after dialoguing with them, they have had some staffing changes, so I dialogued with our director. It was clarified that Tier 2 or Tier 3 interventions count as one of those supports for students who don't have a good cause exemption. So what we would do is the parent would have to consent to, okay, I want to move my student onto fourth grade, even though they don't have a data or good cause exemption, but I do consent to putting them in an intervention. Now, I believe their child would probably already be in an intervention at that time. In what we've requested for the budget, in what we've contracted for the next 4 years, we are fiscally prepared to handle that impact. We are still doing work to coordinate summer school programs and before and after. We have until summer of 2028 to have those in place. But the short story there is that we clarified some language. We didn't need to make any changes to the policy or regulation because of it. And parents will have an option to move their child ahead, but they have to consent to put them in an intervention. And I think that was all I wanted to clarify and report out on, but I can take any questions or.
I have a question.
Sure.
So just because this is not my wheelhouse at all.
Okay.
Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3.
Yes.
I had to Google that.
Okay.
So Tier 1 is everybody.
Everybody gets it. It's the reading English language arts.
It's not picture is like a triangle, right? So it's the bottom.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So that's Tier 1.
Yes.
Then Tier 2 is where people need more specific, and we're dealing with just reading.
Reading and math.
Okay,
Let's
gotcha.
talk about reading tonight. So they're reading 2 grade levels below, and they get a Tier 2 intervention. Our Tier 2 interventions in grades 3 through 12, and this lets me clarify something as well. They may house 24 students all those 24 students aren't being worked with at the exact same time. It's a 45-minute block. They have 5 minutes of whole group instruction, and then they move into rotations. So the teacher running the intervention is only working with 6 students at a time for that intensive support. While the teacher is working with those 6 students, the other students are working on software that meets their needs based on their test score, or doing an independent reading of a book that either meets them where they are or challenges them a little bit, and they typically have a graphic organizer or a quiz to complete. So, and then they rotate about every 15 to 20 minutes.
And so the other, because this is now, is this mostly just third grade? Are we talking about, like, what we're talking about fourth grade promotion, correct?
We're talking about fourth grade promotion, but for all the interventions that I'm in, the tier 2 interventions that I'm in charge of for grades 3 through 12.
Okay.
The tier 2 is, there's 2 options, code, and that's for all the foundational work like phonics and phonemic awareness. And there's Read 180, which is for comprehension, main idea, and details. In those 2 primary or main tier 2 interventions, they can hold up to 24 kids per class, but again, it's only 5 minutes of whole group, and then they rotate through those 3.
And this is the teacher doing it? Mm-hmm. And then we're suggesting, so what is, so.
Want me to talk about tier 3?
Well, I was just going to say too, that this is happening at all the grade levels at the elementaries.
Okay, so tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 is
yes,
everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The piece that Ms. Passon's focusing on right now is just for the third graders that would be promoted to grade 4.
Because I have a third grader, so I have an invested interest in wanting to know more about
But this is still happening at all grades.
Okay, but right now, this tonight, is the policy is in reference to?
The policy,
the retention.
Students pre-K through 3.
Okay.
Third grade is where this policy gives us the opportunity to say to parents or caregivers, your data is telling us that we should retain them another year to give them more intensive support, to allow for another year of development. May we retain them?
And so leading up to that conversation, they would be potentially in tier 2.
As third graders.
In their classroom with the teacher running the group instruction, and then they break off, and then that teacher is working with this group, and then the other kids are doing something else that's specific for them.
For exactly what they need.
When we talk about, and I don't know if these pieces go together, but we talk about the budget and that other $4 million that we need for the math and reading specialists, where do those people play into this equation?
So then there's tier 3. Oh, sorry, Dr. Kibler, did you want to?
I want to understand it.
We're going to say the same thing. You are hitting on the concern that we have with implementing this policy and with the math policy that's coming too. When you get into those tier 2 interventions and then specifically the tier 3, which is the more individualized instruction, we're going to need more bodies of people that can help deliver.
So those special, sorry if I'm taking, I don't want to take up too much time, but the math and reading specialists that we are trying to get with the additional funds with the budget,
yes,
they would be for tier 3, not tier 2.
Exactly.
So tier 2, there will not be any changes to tier 2. It'll stay as is.
No, exactly.
And how long has tier 2 been running this way with the teacher implementing the group since COVID, or since the last couple of years?
When we lost them.
And what is the data showing how this is working for 2-tier? Not good? I want an honest answer just because I got skin in the game. How is it working for third graders?
Our tier 2 data is good.
I mean, is it school to school dependent, or as a county, how is in the last 2 years, what's the data showing when the teachers are now handling the reading groups in the same classroom without being pulled out for individual tutors?
You go first.
The data that we have now, the data does look good. And I have been in every classroom where our teachers are running these tier 2 interventions, and they are running beautifully. And our teachers, though I know they would love additional planning time to plan for these. It is a very scripted program, and they have done yeoman's work in learning the program and making it work for our kids. And I've been very honest with our teachers in saying, I don't foresee a future where we don't have general educators teaching the tier 2.
You said you don't see a future?
I don't, because we haven't had tier 3s. We haven't had designated tier 3 intervention, which is the most intensive intervention, which is for students reading 3 grade levels below. And we have not had research-based consistent tier 3s across the district. And as the science of reading has reemerged in the world of education, this policy, MTSS as well, has really put accountability on districts having tier 3 interventions. So we want the experts, i.e. the reading specialists we're hoping to get, working with those neediest, with our neediest.
I think I understand what the plan is with tier 3 and what we want to do with the funding for tier 3.
Okay.
I'm just wondering and worrying about, because we are in a financial situation that we cannot afford to buy more teachers, not buy more teachers, support more teachers to help and or people in the school designated to the school, how the long-term effects of having these small groups in there, if class sizes, if we don't see any potential for them to decrease anytime soon. I'm just thinking data. I just wanted to.
We have to see this out. The teachers, their teachers are doing a great job. It's a change. Right now, we might see encouraging results from like iReady diagnostics and things, but the MCAP scores right now in the district, as we've talked about, have not been good. I mean, we're one of the 2 or 3 districts in the state that received a letter of notice from the AIB for our decreasing reading proficiency scores in grade 3. And we feel like with the work we're doing around the small group, proposing a budget that reinstates the reading specialists in the building, working on the tier 3 interventions, that's what's going to move the student achievement forward.
Okay. And so iReady is like, so if you're in a classroom and you're during that time and the teacher's doing the groups, the other children that are not part of that individualized group, they're doing something else that is part of that. And then iReady and other testing that they have access to can we monitor increase improvement, not from year to year, but within a calendar year to see if these groups if you said it's only the second year, right?
Yeah. That's what we're doing. So we have the reading specialists, the district that we do, working with Ms. Passon, and then the math equivalent, looking at the data at the schools. They take the iReady testing 3 times throughout the year. Part of the reason I do the school visits is the same reason, is to sit face to face with the principals, and we spend that time looking at their data throughout the year to see how students are moving.
Okay.
So we're constantly monitoring.
I'm just curious. I have a 3rd grader in this county, so
they're great questions.
They're great questions, and I'm glad the public is hearing it too. So, but
they're really important questions.
The additional supports that the reading specialists will provide for the tier 3 instruction, as well as just the coaching for teachers and the support of the classroom teachers.
I do want to highlight, or take a moment since we're talking about it, to highlight in tier 1 instruction in the reading English language arts block. It's typically 120 minutes. The first 60 are whole group, and then students go into rotations to get what they need with the teacher. I'm sure your child probably might come home and talk about what happens in school.
Sometimes, but yes.
Okay. Well, you could start asking. Okay. But so we have been making a shift. The world of education, of public education, with the reemergence of the science of reading, to make sure that the students are getting exactly what they need. And 5 years ago, that meant, okay, this group gets the orange colored reader, this group gets the purple colored reader, this group gets the green colored reader, and there were different questions that went with those readers. And what was happening was we had students who couldn't pronounce sounds, didn't recognize letters, being handed a book and having to answer questions, even though there were those gaps in their foundational learning. So what we're returning to now, and I've been on in many of our elementary schools over the past 3 weeks for my monitoring visits to check on small group learning, is and they were doing this last year, but we have provided more professional development, and we still have a lot more to offer. But the differentiated small group instruction they're giving during tier 1 instruction, that the instruction that every student gets, has been so specific and targeted and specialized. I saw one 3rd grade group working on the controlled R sound today, because that's exactly what they needed. Well, when she got to the 3rd group, they were working on a 4th grade reader with questions for 4th graders. So our class sizes are big, but our teachers are developing plans that meet the neediest readers, who they're giving their time to for 15 to 20 minutes, and making sure that our advanced or achieving students are also getting challenged. So there's great work happening in tier 1 to close these gaps as well, but tier 2 and tier 3 is what we really do need to have in place for our kids who need more support than what they get in tier 1.
It also reinforces reading to your kids at home, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Do them daily.
Thank you.
Yep. And so I come back next month for a vote.
Excellent.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Watkins for FY26
CFO.
budget update and FY operating budget discussion.
No crying this time, please.
Good evening, everybody. For the record, my name is Rob Watkins, Chief Financial Officer here at Grants County. Evening, Dr. Kibler, board members, executive team members. I present before you the most recent period 8 presentation of the fiscal year 26 budget. We are currently projecting spend down. The sheet currently shows us with current expenses and encumbrances at 92%, and when you include other things that are not encumbered, we're much closer to a 100%. We're still on target. Do you guys have any questions or anything I can clarify for you?
I don't know.
Then next up is a discussion regarding our fiscal year 27 operating budget.
Yeah, and I just wanted to take a moment. We don't have a lot to report this evening. We're happy to talk anything we've heard tonight about the 27 operating budget. I did want to thank the board members for approving the operating budget that I proposed last week. Thank you also for approving the capital improvement plan tonight as well. I wanted the board to know that yesterday, myself, Mr. Watkins, Mr. Pender, Mr. Barraclough met with the county administrator as well as members of his finance office as part of the county's budget process. And the purpose of that meeting is he brings in all the different county agencies that the county funds to basically talk through what their budget requests are for the year. So what we were able to do, and they watch our board meetings as well, is we were able to let them know that the board had approved our operating budget and that we were seeking approval of the CIP this evening. And we basically took that time to answer questions that they had about our operating budget proposal, talk through it, talk through the needs. And so I just kind of wanted to let the board know about where we go from here. And so the next phase of the county budget process is that the county administrator will present his proposed budget to the county commissioners in the coming weeks. And then the commissioners will invite all the county agencies to a public work session as well to talk about what we are requesting as well as what the county administrator put forward for us in the first draft of a proposed budget. We are slated to be at that work session on Thursday, March 26th at 5 p.m. at the Liberty Building. I would encourage, that is a public meeting, it is televised, so we can all be there together. We would just probably want to notify the public that we will all be going to that, I would think, Ms. Dennis. So I would encourage every board member that can be there to be there, so we can be prepared to have one voice talking about our budget request, whether that be answering questions about the operating budget or the capital improvement plan. The county administrator will be there, his finance team will be there, as well as the county commissioners. And so that's kind of the next phase. So it goes, we've submitted our requests. We will now officially tell them that the capital improvement plan has been approved. So they will see both of those pieces. The county administrator then puts out his proposed budget. So we will see what they are thinking for us. We then talk to the commissioners have their input, and then eventually we get to May where there's the public forums where we can speak to that too. So I just wanted you all to know kind of where we were in the process, as well as we want to keep having it a standing agenda item. If you all have any questions about what we've proposed for the operating budget, we're just going back to the capital improvement plan as well.
I do have a question.
Sure.
When are you changing your name tag?
We'll have to find some money in the budget to fix that.
We'll just.
Do we have the old plan?
Do we have it? Can we add it into the budget?
Do you have the old one? Mr. Barraclough, you need to go search the old building and see before you hand it back.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Hey, do we have any, we don't have anybody to give public comment or signed up? Would anybody like to give public comment?
So many people out there.
Nope. Nope. All right, next up for our future meetings and events, next week on Tuesday is the Commissioner Liaison meeting on the 10th.
Gotta go.
Time to be done.
Adam has to give his dog his medicine.
I know Miss Sutherland you signed up for, right, the Commissioner Liaison?
I did, yeah,
Okay.
just 'cause-
Did anybody else want to do the Commissioner Liaison? Tuesday the 10th?
10th of,
Tuesday at 10?
Tuesday the 10th at 4.
Oh, I thought you said at 10. I was like, whoa.
And then we have the next day is the SSIC and the CAC, if anybody wanted to do that.
that's the Wednesday?
Yes.
I can do the Wednesday. That's the 11th.
Which one?
Time-wise, I probably can do the second one. The CAC.
6 o'clock?
Yes. Just because of the kids.
If nobody else can do the 4:30, I'll try to do it, but I'd rather.
Can't do the 4:30.
I can do the 6 one, I just can't do the 4.
I might be able to do the 4:30, but
All right, well, let me know how about that.
Okay.
And I'll try to do it just so we have someone there.
Yep.
All right, and then up for our next scheduled board meeting is April 1st, 2026. And let's see, didn't we have some important dates coming up? So Dr. Kibler announced the March 26th, the QACPS, the budget public works session in Centerville. And then again, just to announce them, the 19th of May, the 20th of May, and May 21st are all the commissioner budget public information sessions. Can't say that word today. All right, and if we don't have anything else, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn open session at 8:01.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.